Hi. In this video on retirement, I'm going to talk things about things so commonplace you'll think, well, why is he telling us this? We already know it. But maybe you need a reminder. We've all heard the expression that actions repeated become habits, and habits eventually become our destiny. When we retire, we have to really re-evaluate our habits. Are they going to stand us in good stead in the time ahead? We know that this is going to be a really life-changing event. Going into retirement brings in a new way of life for us. We have, perhaps for the first time, almost absolute freedom, given the restrictions that society places upon us, of course. But we don't have to go to work. We don't have to tip our cap to the boss. We don't have to worry about goal setting at work and producing and all of that thing. That's all behind us now. Yet we might be inclined to carry on with our normal habits. One of our habits at work, and it's pretty commonplace, is to complain. Complain about the work situation to your mates, and a lot of negativity goes on. When we retire, we need to look very carefully at our thoughts, our thinking, our verbal processes, because, believe it or not, what we talk about and what we dwell upon, what we focus on for long periods of time, does come into our life. That's a universal law. We bring into our lives that which we think about most. Maybe you don't believe it, but whether you believe it or not, at this stage, what matters is this: your mind talk. Now, as we get older, our short-term memory is not as good as it used to be. This is why there's a lot of jokes about people coming upstairs to get things and then forgetting what they came up for. That's fair enough. What's the worst thing you can do is to berate yourself with, I don't know what's happening to me now. My memory's not as it used to be. And even getting quite angry about that. Now, when we get angry about something, there's an emotional content to that anger, of course, anger itself being an emotion. The more angry we are about our so-called lack of being able to remember, for example, people's names or where we put things, the more we put that to ourselves in an angry way, the more we are conditioning ourselves for more of the same. Why? Because when we get angry and talk to ourselves like that, we're conditioning our own subconscious mind. And our own subconscious mind is like a big computer. It takes in stuff. It doesn't evaluate what it's taking in. It doesn't say no to this and yes to this. It says yes to everything. Everything that we put into our subconscious mind in an emotional way is registered there. And it grows. It gives us more of the same. So what I'm saying is this: don't put yourself down if you can't remember something. Just say, well, I forgot that time, and put it aside. Do not dwell on it. Another thing you might want to remember is this: everything that happened to you in your whole life, once it has sunk into the subconscious or the unconscious, it is there forever. It isn't forgotten. Nothing like that is ever forgotten. Once it gets into the subconscious mind, in long-term memory, it is there for the rest of our lives. This has been proven over and over again with regressive hypnotherapy, when we are taken back under hypnosis to various stages in our lives, to things long forgotten to our consciousness. But they are there, and a hypnotist can bring them to the surface. So we know this to be a fact. Anything put into long-term memory stays there. So forget about having a bad memory. You've got a good memory. The only thing that you might be finding a bit hard is the short-term memory. You've probably all noticed this. You see a friend coming down the street, you know him, he's familiar to you, but you've forgotten his name. He shakes hands, you say, "How you going, mate? How you going?" And then you turn away, and before you've even taken 2 steps, "Nice to see you again, John." So what's happened there? The recall was there, but it was slower. It was slower. So as I said, do not berate yourself and make things worse than they are. We know that our short-term memory and our matters of recall might not be as good as they used to be. That doesn't mean to say that we're losing our mind. So don't ever say, "I'm losing my mind," or things like that. Worst thing you can do. Stay positive. Just accept the way things are going. Be philosophical about it and have a good retirement.